Hello, guys, and welcome to another Night with Phee, a Labor Day special. Tonight, we're going to talk about you got to play with your head up. That's right, on a Labor Day special, you got to play with your head up. I hope you guys have had a good day. I've been rushing around, crazing around all day long. Didn't play any golf today, but I am involved in a fantasy football draft. So, I don't know how well I'm doing on that rascal right now. But in any sport, you got to play with your head up. I don't mean looking up. I mean like you're driving a car. See, you have to have vision in order to play. You got to be able to see the ball in baseball. You got to be able to track it. In football, you got to have that vision. You got to pick those holes. You got to make those cuts based on the inside or outside position of the defensive backs. All kinds of things that you have to do in order to see the field or the court. So if you're dribbling with your head down, you can't see what the other people are doing. You can't see if your teammate's open. You can't see if he did a back cut to the goal. You can't see if the double team is coming, if they left a man open because you're looking down. So as a coach, you have to teach how to be able to look up when you play, to be able to have a vision, a peripheral vision while you're playing. So you can't look at the ball when you're dribbling it. You've got to be able to see what's going on from a strategic standpoint, where you can play. Can you win off the dribble? Can you win off the pass or a back cut or a screen? All kinds of deceptions of pre-snap movements on offense and football, trying to move the defense before the snap, try to flood one area, try to get someone open with space in another area. So all these things, in any type of sports, you need to play with your head up, just like you're driving a car. You don't need to be worried about looking down or putting your makeup on or looking for your phone. You got to be able to see out the windows, be able to see out the front, the sides, and the back. And you can't do that looking at the ceiling or looking at the floor. You're going to have vision. Well, in business, you're going to have to be able to understand the trends. You wouldn't have wanted to get into newspaper business in 2000. The trend was telling you that newspapers were dying with the popularity of the internet and news that could be given to you instantaneous with anybody that had a camera or a cell phone. Content is king in 2025, just like I told them it would be in 1989, that production studios at that point, they had all of the cards, just like the hardwired cable companies did for so many years, for at least 40 years, and just like the hardwired telephone companies did, the baby bells for many, 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 many years. Those were the only games in town. But once you find that now there's lots of people with phone service, lots of people with streaming service, lots of people with internet service, you can see that they now bundle those services. This is what we were talking about doing in 1993. So all of your technology is there from a business standpoint, but you still have to keep your head up when you're playing. You wouldn't want to be investing in something that has already reached its peak and is going to be obsolete. You want to be able to move in the direction. And what is the direction with your head up in business? It's regenerative medicine. It's robotics. It's AI. Those are the type of things that are moving into the future with businesses. And you can see the stock market now it loves almost any AI play. And that'll adjust itself in the future. But every new tech, every new invention, every new technology stems lots of excitement. And the stocks go up and down based on perception, not reality. So if there's a tanker that's being has wrecked in the sea, oil will automatically go up. Well, that trust me when I tell you, that tanker wasn't going to deliver the oil that you're going to put in your pumps today. So those things tend to take a time to actually reach the market, but they're felt automatically, sometimes even before things happen. And those are just people that really pick good trends, or are very good at what they do, or have information that would allow them to have those type of or that type of knowledge. But you always have to play with your head up, no matter what you're doing. Now, I'm in a business now, in arenas that I haven't played in, sandboxes I hadn't played in. So I definitely have to actually go around and make sure my head's not in the sand. Make sure that just because I was taught something all my life doesn't mean it's fact. So yeah, I'm playing with my head up, and sometimes I'm getting my nose bloodied. But bottom line is, we're just going to rep it and rep it and rep it as we continue to move forward. So I appreciate you guys tuning in on this Labor Day special. I hope you've had a great time. Weather's been a little overcast here. Great weather as far as temperatures. But I hope you guys had a safe travel this weekend, no matter where you went, to get home safely. We will start with these questions now. I do appreciate the questions as we will get started. Phee, why is America having less sex than ever before? Kyla in Texas. Kyla, that is something that I found out about in 2022, that the trends of what was going on. Coaching a lot of young people throughout many years, normally when they get to a certain age, they're interested in if they're boy girls, if they're girl boys, and they start. You can see from 12 to 14 to 16 to 18 how they progress. And since I've been back, since I came back from being ill and I wasn't able to coach, I've noticed that they don't go out as much. So I ask questions, and what you're finding is this COVID really changed the culture in a shift to where isolation is really, really key. There's not a lot of people out dreaming of the American dream of growing up, getting married, and having children. Now the American dream is going out and getting a job, making a living, and having fun and getting as much as you can get. And that's one way to do it. But the bottom line is, statistics show that the world has never had less sex than it's having right now. But the United States especially is not. 1.5 times a week is the United States. The highest is Italy, and they're right at 2. So used to it would be nothing but 3 or 4 or 5 times a week for married couples to have sex, and that's not the case now. Even single couples are having more sex than married couples, which I find. And statistics also show that living with someone, you have more sex than if you actually married to them. So all of these things are based on your phone, your isolation, your easy access to pornography, and what they're going to do is continue to isolate you in the future. So the reason you're having less sex, you have to remember a lot of it has to do with medicine. Once you get on certain medicines, they do eliminate a whole lot of sex drive, and they certainly have side effects in those areas. So if your thyroid is overworked, if your brain is overworked, if you're not getting nutrients, if you had toxins, if you have too much, if you're a male, too much cortisol. If you're a female, you got to look at your estrogen levels and your testosterone levels. So food, diet is certainly a factor. Vaccinations, the medicine you're on, certainly a factor. If you change the blood chemistry, you change the hormones, all of those things add up to a reason. But if I had to pinpoint it, I'd say that that people got used to isolation by themselves. They have access on their phone to any pornography they would like. So that is making them more isolated. If they get turned down a couple times, they don't even try anymore. Why should they try? It's the way they're looking at it. It's a whole generation. Remember, it doesn't take but 3 generations. It's my mother and father, and then me, and then my kids. Those are the, if anything happens in those three generations, that's what the Chinese said 40 years ago. If you want to defeat America, you defeat them three ways. You defeat them with religion, you defeat them with patriotism, and you defeat them with their children, teaching their children. Because in 75 years of doing that, all of those things would be gone if one generation didn't teach it to the next. And whether it's good information or bad information, whether you're making decisions good, whether your environment was good, no matter what the decisions were, you're going to make them based on your information that you have, your choices. And so why are you having less sex? It goes back to across all regions. If it was just one region, it'd be one thing. But it's all areas. It's married, it's divorced, it's single, it's bisexual. The feminist movement of having emasculating men and making them look bad, and then women not needing a man. Those years go by, and then you have so many failed marriages and so many blended marriages, and divorce rate is over 50% for the first marriage, 75% on the second marriage, and 90% on the third marriage. So every time you get divorced and married, it gets easier for you just to remove it again and do it again and do it again when things don't work out. And remember, in relationships, the best ones are work. It takes both parties. It takes two to tango. So the new generation is not having any type of relationships. They don't have any experience or repetition in dating or flirting. They use apps. They use phones. They use hookups. That's basically what that generation is, and it's just a slow culture from the '60s to the '70s to the '80s to the '90s. Now it's 2025, and you look up and you're like, we've got an epidemic of folks not being able to have children. We've got an epidemic of folks that don't want to have children. We've got a certain group of folks that not only do they not want to be who they are, but they have the ability to convince people to pay for them, to mutilate them at an age that's less than 18. So if you can't go to war and you can't buy alcohol and you can't buy cigarettes before you're 18 years old, I certainly don't think you ought to be able to change your sex. So I didn't win that argument either way. That's what you're going to find is all that medicine that they told them was safe is going to have a tremendous effect post-op, and the medicine they gave them to get to that point is going to just wreak havoc on their body for years and years to come, including their minds. So having sex less, you're looking at it more, and having it less, and so that's that is the true facts, and that is the case. Why? I would tell you that the libidos are lower because of the diet, the food, the toxins, the isolation puts you in a situation where you wanted, you were isolated, so therefore you used that phone or you used that computer, and now that became a habit. Almost like people didn't think that folks would go back to churches. They thought, they got used to for 3 years and watching church in a robe, and churches were scared that they weren't going to come back, and some of them didn't, but for the most part, they have come back. 30% of churches closed their doors to never reopen during that time. That's almost a third. So the bigger churches just brought them in, and the little ones closed their door, and that's 30%. That's rough. And I'd like to have a church about on every corner rather than have a big mega church. But I don't know if those days will ever be back again, but I hope they are. But as far as the sex lives of Americans, they rank pretty high worldwide, 1.2, or pretty low worldwide, 1.2, but even the highest is Italy at 2. So the whole world's not having a lot of sex anymore. But you turn on everything and anything, and that's what you read about, see about, hear about, and it's on every corner. And I think that's probably why. Besides all the medicine and the diet and the lack of skills, I think probably the isolation and just from a psychological standpoint, just crushing people. And it's certainly not a trend. It is an epidemic. So I do appreciate that. Kyla in Texas. Next question, please. Phee, why do Mark's views always seem to contradict your views on Israel? Joel in Oklahoma. Joel, when I got into this prophecy, I had a vision 2023 on June the 24th. I was up to date on a lot of things business-wise. I was up to date a lot of things on how to make residual income and affiliate marketing and math and science part of it. What I didn't, I never was a social media guy until 2023. So I didn't do anything on any social media platforms whatsoever, and I probably wouldn't have then. But there's a lot of information out there now. But my Lord brought Mark to me through different ways. He was a cousin of a guy that was helping me at my house, and I'd coached before, and the remodeling of what we were trying to do after the flood. But anyway, once I talked to him and realized that just because he says certain things doesn't mean he actually believes them. He wants to look at all different situations, all different parties, from all different angles, and he wants to make an educated decision, and he's almost always not going to go with the crowd. He thinks that is probably, he's always looking behind the curtains and peeling away the additional onions. He's been a real blessing to me in that, because I never played in that, didn't care anything about that, so I don't think I would have been up to speed as quickly as I am. So Phee Smee, Mark and I have visited many times. He knows my stance. I know his stance. We're going to just continue to do what the Word of God says. We're not under any illusion that there's not deception in all parties. And he doesn't always agree with me, and I don't always agree with him. But it's very good to. I have 3 TVs. I don't just watch the ones that agree with me. It's more important to me to watch the ones that don't, and to watch what the other team's doing. And so he's very valuable in those areas, and he's been proven correct so many times. It startles me because things that he knows about and the information that he's obtained over many, many, many years of doing just this. He has a real passion, and it's a real hobby, just like fantasy football would be to me. This obtaining knowledge and filing it away in things that other people don't normally play in those sandboxes. So we don't always agree, but we do agree on what's going to happen based on what the Bible says. He throws out a whole lot of what if this, what if that, how they can, if they do this, how can they do that? Here's who's controlling this, who's here's controlling that. All good information, whether true, not true, whether he believes the information, whether he's just getting it out there to you. You'll find that he knows the Bible, and he's kind of stubborn when it comes to people's philosophies that act so strong on what they believe, yet they don't really. If you ask them any questions, they just stick to their main concept, their main principles. So I'm very thankful for him. And yes, we are opposite on some things to do with what's going on in the world right now and who's behind it and the deception. But we're not against each other with what we know. He knows that temple's going to be built. He knows that those red heifers have been done. He's the one that proved to me about the weather manipulation. So he has fun with the Bigfoots, and he has fun with the all these elitists that you can tell he's not a big fan of elitists. And so my father always taught me to, you don't bow to any man. You treat the janitor just like you would the president, because I was raised worse than the janitor, and I won't expect you to be better than the president. So that's the way kind of Mark is on what you think about his beliefs. You really wouldn't know because he will go from one end of the spectrum to the other, get excited about it, all parts, and then in the end, he'll say, "Well, I just really wanted to get that information out there for you all to make a educated decision." So, but he does get excited about it, and he is a big believer in a lot of things that are behind the scenes, behind the curtains. He's been proven right, and we're just going to continue to move in momentum. I know it's called the Phee Smee Network, and I know that I'm responsible in some ways for what he says. So we have an agreement we're going to continue to push the envelope. We're going to continue to get in the gray areas. I've pretty much, kept stayed my life in there with trying to deal with these FCC and SEC and now in the FDA. It's better to try to work sometimes without it being out in the open. So he's very good at that. But yes, we do contradict on some issues and some viewpoints. But overall, our mission statement is exactly aligned perfectly. And I do appreciate that question. Joe from Oklahoma. And also, Joe, because I wrote down some notes here. When I was terminally ill, I spent a lot of time on regenerative medicine, and I spent a lot of time on robotics and spending time on 12 different things, from world hunger to homeless to IV drug use to fentanyl trade, the trafficking of children, the dark web, the pornography, especially the AI and the robotics, the companions that are coming. I always try to follow the money, and that's about as deep as I ever went. Now, Mark goes a lot deeper, and then he looks at a lot of different angles. But if you follow the money and have someone that's can say, well, what about this, or what about this? What happened in 2011, or what about this that happened in 1986? And then he pulls it up and looks at it, and okay. And it seems like that every time an event happens, it takes 50 years for them to be able to release the documents. And then when they release the documents, they just find out that they've lied to you for 50 years, and it doesn't seem like it never makes the news, or nobody cares about it. So that's what I found out that I just wasn't aware of. But Mark and I agree on a lot of issues. But yes, we do. I'm confident enough in my views, and I'm confident enough in his beliefs that to know it'll work in the end. So I just coach. I look at things from a give me the rules of the game, and I'll put together a strategy in order to win. He's more of we're not going to play the game unless I know who made the rules and why they made the rules. And I don't even know if that ball, I need to look at the ball and the court and he doesn't leave anything to chance. So you don't really know what kind of point he has as far as in his head, what does he really believe in a lot, because he hits almost every point around there, and then he'll try to narrow down or funnel it down. So I do appreciate that, but I'm just a coach. He's the conspiracy deep dark conspiracy theories. He gets into a lot of them, and he's opened my eyes on some of them that are fact. Think about these conspiracy theorists and these survivalists and all these things. These people, sometimes they're right, but because of the way they present themselves and the way they act, and because of so many outrageous things that they say along with the things they're right, then people don't pay attention to them. So you can tell me Bigfoot's real all day, and then you follow that up with weather manipulation, and I think, okay, well, there's no way in the world they're going to manipulate the weather. And then he proves to me that they're manipulating the weather, and I know enough about science to know that, okay, if they're doing that on purpose, they can do that. So they're obviously doing it and been doing it. So then all of a sudden, does that give the weather manipulation because it's true, and because they're having the Senate hearings on the Navy officials that saw the UFOs, or what they call UAPs now, that's credibility. So does that give Bigfoot credibility? See, I don't know. So I just take each individual instance that he talks about. I review it. I watch it. He's getting more confident. He's getting stronger in his beliefs. He's getting stronger in his viewpoints. So I think he's just going to continue, and he'll get better, and I'll get better. But right now, I'm very thankful to have him. All right, next question. Phee, what are your thoughts on China, Russia, Iran, India, North Korea, and Saudi Arabia meeting this week? Steve in Oklahoma. Steve, they're one-upping our president from Alaska, and that's basically what they would call a Brinks meeting. You've got Brazil and Russia and India and North Korea, China, Saudi Arabia, Iran, a lot of other countries that are allies of Russia over there. But if they're talking about something other than war and trade, it would surprise me. And once you put that many people in a room together, they don't have to have. They can dismiss all of their aides, all of their chief of staffs, and if you put 4 or 5 of those men together in a room from those countries, they can keep secrets compared to where if each one of them had a staff of 5 and they had to go out their own different ways. So that's a very, very interesting that they're staying that long for that parade and that military. At the same time, you've got problems in Latin America with these drug cartels that China will probably go ahead and back them, kind of like the United States is sending weapons to Ukraine. China will probably do the same thing to Venezuela. And as far as Iran, anytime Iran's got all of their the Houthis, the Hamas, Hezbollah, Israel's just beating like a drum, just kind of eliminating those whole sleeper cells, and people aren't happy about it at all. But I think they had a window, and they're trying to get rid of all of them, and they have the intelligence in order to do that, in order to know where the whereabouts are of all the people that they're actually killing, that are high up into those terrorist organizations. But Iran might not have to rely on those terrorist groups. They might have already done what they need to do if they can convince Russia, India, and China to stand against them and the Middle East. And you got Saudi Arabia over there that they tend to play on both sides sometimes because they are an epic center when it comes to black gold and Texas tea. So that's an interesting meeting. They'll be talking about their currency, trying to devalue the dollar. They're trying to talk about the foreign exchange market. They'll try to get to the one world socialist, communist governments back again. So, but they're going to it's going to be a struggle because Europe and the United Nations, they're going to square off sooner or later with these boys. And you got that. When you have that axis of evil, and then you got all the European, and then you got the United States sitting there between Canada and Mexico, it's a chessboard, is what it is right now. So what they're doing over there, they're talking about war, they're talking about plans, they're strategically planning on how they can eliminate a lot of the United States' trade routes, eliminate a lot of their these tariffs that our president's imposed, how they can get around a whole lot of that, and how they can have their plan for their team to win. So that's what they're doing. And just like I told you before this Trump meeting with Putin in Alaska, that I didn't expect that to have anything to do with Putin. I think your Western journalists have been telling you the Ukraine's putting up a big fight, when I think Russia's just, step by step over a period of time, taking what they want and making those Ukrainians are putting up a big fight as far as they're undermanned, they're outmatched. They've got some technology over their weaponry, but there's a lot of loss of life when you start talking about over 1.5, 1.6 million people So another war that's either going to go away or it's going to expand. You're going to have NATO, and they're going to get involved, and that's what Putin's over there talking to China about, and Iran, and India, and Saudi Arabia. So they've got their plans too, and we'll see how it works out. We've got a big couple of months ahead of us between, this is September 1, between September and December 31st. You're going to have a whole lot of things that fall into place as far as this is concerned. But yeah, that's what they're doing, Steve, in Oklahoma, and I do appreciate that call. My next question is, Phee, how long do you believe it will be before drones deliver goods to your house as the primary way to deliver? Gina in New Jersey. Gina, they can have the drones anytime they want to start delivering whatever they want to the house. What they've got to do is find some event to change that culture. Remember, they used to have a delivery service if you bought a pizza or you bought food, and then they had a delivery service. And then all of a sudden they came up with these food deliveries at home. Pretty much, again, around the COVID issue, kind of put that into effect. Now you're having a lot of people order their groceries, and they're delivered to their house, or they pick them up outside the store. All those things are a cultural shift for you not to be in the store, for you not to actually go and see what's the environment that the food's in or the goods are in. They'd much rather deliver it to your house. You don't know who delivered it, how many people were sick, how many people if they had any type of diseases or problems, anything. You don't have any idea about your food from the people who made it, if it's from a restaurant, to the people who delivered it. So that's going to happen. But you've got to get to a point to where people are excited for their drone to show up and deliver their Amazon package, or to deliver their pizza, or to deliver their clothes. I don't think you're going to have Mr. Drone delivering your car to you and putting it in your driveway anytime soon, but they have drones that size also. I think what you'll find in that area is your Federal Express, your UPS, those type of people will be very nervous. Is that a next newspaper business? Will these folks start sending directly by their drones with distribution centers there? Or will it be UPS and FedEx and all of those delivery services now be the ones that have their drones that deliver instead of the truck and with the driver? They've got the drone delivering whatever you have at your house. So it'll be interesting as that's coming. How quickly will it be is what the question you had. In big cities, I'm sure it'll be bigger or sooner than in smaller rural areas. It's all about the volume, what they can do, how many drones they can buy, and how much, how many dollars they can produce by that drone during that business hours. So it's all comes down to math. They'd rather spend the money on the technology and not have to deal with the people. People don't remember the law. When you have an equilibrium in economics, it's very different for everything to become equal. Just stay the same and have stability. Those machines, that's what they do. They don't get sick. See, they don't have their kids that got a busted knee and needs 3 stitches from school. They're not going through a divorce and with an alcoholic husband or abusive. They're teenagers. You don't know if they're teenagers or they don't have any teenagers. So your teenagers might be having all kinds of problems. Anything that takes your mind away from doing your job to the standard of perfection, they don't have to worry about it. They don't think they're going to have to ever worry about them stealing from them, being late. They just turn them on and they do the same thing over and over again, and with 99% accuracy or above. So why would they have to deal with somebody with a bad attitude, or it's hungover, or that's having all kinds of crises in his life? That's their end goal. What can we drug them up, dope them up, put them in front of TVs, cameras, entertain them just like they did back in the Rome with the cathedrals with the gladiators. Let the mobs go and enjoy and have a good time while we're doing something over here that really matters. That's the end goal. So I don't know how long it'll be. I don't know, but they have the technology to do that right now and have had it. And they've got several different sizes. They've got drones the size of a bee and a fly that can actually dispense poisons, biological weapons, aerosols. They've got birds. They've got everything and anything from insects. When you think big, they're going to have them as big as school buses and as big as trains. Well, you need to be more concerned with the little ones that are all around you that you never even pay attention to, because that's where the danger leads more with these drones. And then you've got a liability issue always. Whose fault is it? And it won't be long before every single neighborhood, not main streets, not stoplights, but every single neighborhood, every single house will be on surveillance. And if they have to have a drone fly over there with a fly going down the neighborhood, they can certainly do that. So that will happen. Now, when will it happen? I have no idea. I have a feeling my Lord's going to mess up a whole lot of these folks' plans before it's over, and I don't think it's going to be too long before you're going to wake up and one day your life's going to have changed, and you're going to say, "Wow, how did we get there? I don't understand how we got here." And then it'll be real difficult to get out of that quicksand at that point. So we've got a lot of work to do here at the Phee Smee Network, just trying to get that word out, making sure you're not deceived, making sure that you're in the Word of God, that you don't worry about the denominations and being wrong as far as pre-tribulation. There's a lot of folks wrong out there about that, including my parents, me, for 57 years. It's not a salvation issue, so it's a deception issue. But we're going to endure to the end, and just like Jesus said in Matthew 24, it's immediately after that Antichrist stands in that third temple. And then you got 3.5 years of serious persecution and death and problems. And that's what we're preparing for now. World War III is the sixth trumpet war, and then we've got to go through 3.5 years of persecution with once he stands in that temple that hadn't been built yet. So we've got time as far as that's concerned. But the United Nations, September 22nd, the meetings that they're doing right now and why they're staying so long for these parades, very unusual for you to have that many world leaders stay that long. That's something that probably most people, and certainly these mainstream journalists, will probably just gloss over. But they don't go to those meetings and spend 4 days. They normally go and spend an afternoon or a day. And if it's one overnight, it's a big deal. They're making lots of progress. So this is an unusual deal, and they're hiding it very well with China's. I believe it's their 80th year of some type of celebration. So they've got a whole lot of world leaders over there. I can tell you that much. And there's not any of them over there that like the United States, although Saudi Arabia would tell you that they do. So anyway, I don't know when they'll be delivered. The drones will take over where you won't see the FedEx or you won't see the UPS trucks anymore. But if I had to guess, I'd say 5 to 10 years. So let's go with 7. If nothing happens and life is if there's no roads because they're all blown up, and then there'll be a whole lot of drones delivering things to you as they're repairing roads and no one can drive. So that might be another way that they're delivering whatever you need to your specific place. So there's always ways. Mark would look of every situation. Why are they using those drones? Why are they trying to eliminate those folks' jobs? What's the cost differential of paying his salary and having these drones? How much more money are they making? Is it more cost effective, and they don't have to deal with the psychological problems? There you go. That's why they're doing it. That's the process that you have to go through, because there was a whole lot of people mad when they were replacing checkers at Walmart. There were a whole lot of folks. It wasn't 2 years from COVID where they started replacing them till 2 years later where there wasn't anybody complaining whatsoever about going, and it's just the way life is. Just changed it that quick. So we can't let the World Health Organization tell us what to eat and what vaccines to take, or we can't buy anything, or we can't go out. We can't purchase gas because of our carbon emissions. That's going to happen all over the world. Not going to happen in the United States. We're going to win before it's over with. Now, again, like I've told you, we're going to have all kinds of problems, and that's why you got to thank the National Guard. You got to thank your police, your first responders. We got to pay these people because they're going to be paramount to our success, because we do win. But we're gonna have some problems, and I do appreciate that call, Gina in New Jersey. I don't know when, but I guess between, I'd say, 5 and 10 years, they'll start moving. You'll start seeing it. It'll start being a big deal. So and so got their package delivered by this drone. So and so got this package by this drone. So they'll make those drones fancy too, I guess, if you like to look for them. Anyway, we have to learn to play with our head up, and that's the only way that you can play sports. You've got to play with your head up. And I try my best to not look at my notes very often, to play with my head up. I'd like to have a teleprompter size enough where I could see it. I would just never look down and have my notes there. But I try, and I'm still not that good at it because my phone goes off and I kind of lose my spot sometimes. But I have to play with my head up. You can't bury your head in the sand. You've got to realize that you're the sickest you've ever been. And there's got to be a reason from a law of large numbers why these types of things are happening. And they have to do it by putting in the water, the food, the diet, the medicine, the vaccines. That's all. That's what's going to everybody, see? That's just not this specific region is having them, or this specific region is having it. You're talking about a nationwide epidemic of being unhealthy. And there's a reason for that. John D. Rockefeller said, we're going to give them everything to make them sick, and then we're going to give them everything to make them well. Now, when you say that before you do it, and then do it, and they build statues for you, that's par for the course. That tells you that if you spend enough money and give enough money to enough people, that they'll almost always be in your corner. Until you stop. And the United Nations is fixing to be, and this redistribution of wealth is going to make a whole lot of people happy that don't want to do anything to begin with, except read and play and get drunk and high, and they're going to do that for you, and then but they're going to make you more dependent on them, less dependent on you, your independence, your independent thinking. How many creative intellectuals will be out there? Because now we have about 90% learned academians and about 10% creative intellectuals. Well, but of those 100% that actually are learned academics or creative intellectuals, that's just the top 15 to 20% of the whole population. So you've got 80% or the masses there that don't care. They're unhappy anyway. They're not worrying about securing a future. They're worrying about getting through today and what they're going to do today and what they want today. And you give those folks an opportunity, and you give them some leadership and some money, and they can cause some real chaos. And that civil unrest is here. And it's bubbling all throughout the United States. It's all throughout the world. It's a socialist, communist movement. It's just your fourth spirit of the fourth horse is your green horse, and that's your Muslim horse. 25% of the world now are Muslims. So that's the exact number that said that when Jesus would come back. So you're approaching. You're in the season, and you're approaching game time, and we've got to be able to play with our heads up. Because in sports, if you can't see the defense if you're on offense, or the offense if you're on defense, in real time and make decisions without thinking, by instinct, because you've done it so much, you can't play and think. At a certain level, they're all too good. You'll always be a step slow. You'll always be a step slow getting out of your cuts, or breaking on the ball, or seeing the lane open before it opens. You have to have those type of vision. Most of the best running backs that ever play the game will tell you vision is the key. Sure, you have to be able to run, and certainly you have to have power, and you have to have a good offensive line, and all those things are important. But if you can't see, if you don't have that ability to hesitate, to let something else open up and then it burst, if you're just looking at your very first option every time, and you're strong and powerful, that'll get you a long ways. But once you get to a certain level, vision in any sport takes you to a whole different elite category. So I do appreciate your time. I want you guys to play with your head up. I want you to be able to see the floor, see the game, see what's going on, and make my Lord a priority. Thank you for tuning in on this Labor Day special of Night Night. We'll be back tomorrow with all three of our shows on the Phee Smee Network. So check us tomorrow morning out at 9 a.m. with the Phee Smee Show with Manly Mark. And remember, no matter what you're doing, you're missing something. So let's make what we're doing worth what we're missing. Night, night, guys.